Yeah, I let me ask you another question because it's kind of also on the tip of my brain right now. I think if you were to force me at gunpoint to say one, I don't know if I would say positive, but one amazing aspect of present politics that is fairly new, and as a politician, you've always been aware of how easy you can become a hero. And or not easy. I think you've done a couple things to fall under that title. But it's also fairly easy to fall out of favor. I think in the past, if there was one transgression on your slate, you were gone. You were canceled fairly quickly. And I think what we've seen, the only maybe positive thing I've seen in the present political climate is that we finally have somebody who says, listen. I don't know if you remember the old Shaggy song, It Wasn't Me. Yeah. I maybe rephrase it in a different way. I think what I think we can learn from the present political climate is that you can make a mistake and still stay the course. You can still be resilient. You can create a certain Teflon personality if you have the courage to stand your woman or man. And I think that's something that has been sorely lacking in previous political figures. I think we Democrats are famous for it. If you get one cancelable offense against you, you're gone. You said something, oh, you look lovely today to a woman who took offense to it, or you used the wrong gender title. Then you have to, take your stuff and go. But the other party has a mentality you can grab them somewhere and you can become president. So I'm not saying that the behavior is appropriate, but I think the concept of resilience is something that I think all politicians could probably, because I think what it does is it reaffirms for the voter, hey, this person can make a mistake and come back. What is your opinion as far as the political sphere is concerned? Is it conducive to being able to make a mistake? Can you come back from a mistake? Isn't that kind of the hallmark of a good leader, to take a blow? To quote Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Isn't that part of being a good leader as well?
Absolutely, it is. But you're right. There's an intolerance in our society today that prevents that from happening. There's sort of what we call a gotcha culture here, where we gotcha. We've found a way of sensationalizing a story. It's going to make the headlines. It's going to belittle that person. Forget the fact that we've now written their career off and we've lost a very, very good person. And that's very, very sad indeed. But it fits into the type of people that we are actually encouraging to step forward into the public office. And I constantly ask people in business, even at schools as well, put your hand up if you would be a parliamentarian. And the younger age groups, very excited about potentially participating. And the older you get, the less and less those numbers are. And that means you're actually gifting it to a very small grouping of people who aren't the brightest and the best to make the decisions. And you have a different system than us because your president gets to pluck the brightest and the best from wherever, and hopefully they'll be attracted.
In theory, yes, he does.
to be in the cabinet. Our cabinet is very much made up as parliamentarians alone. You have to be an MP as well. So this is always, you have this connect with the people that elected you. Now, maybe that'll change in due course, but right now that's the way it is. Would
that be a recommendation you would have for your political system to maybe loosen those constraints?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we saw this as an example, and people gave him a bit of grief. But when David Cameron came back as our foreign secretary, he was immediately put in the Lords, which is the other way of doing it. So he was ennobled, which you can do very, very quickly, and then allowed to sit as our foreign secretary. Now, he enlivened that place. He really did. He's a class act, talking about communications, but also his experience and breadth of knowledge, to help on the foreign policy side was absolutely fantastic. So that was sort of like a halfway house. But I think there's an awful lot of people that don't want that overexposure of going through the ranks of being an MP. And don't forget, actually, the American model actually depicts this very well. This triangle of the judiciary, which is separate from the legislative, which is separate from the executive. In our system, the executive and the legislative are blurred into one House of Commons. And therefore, there is some advancement there, I think, to be done. if were we to sit down and recognize, if you want Britain to lead, and this is another piece which is very important to me, if ever there was a demand for greater international leadership, if there ever was a demand for Britain's voice on the international stage to be heard again, then it is now, given how crazy our world's become.